Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, tell me what you gonna do, when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Nigga, this for wallet, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo guys got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of roll and flow like I ain't looked at a while. And play for dust, and they play too deep for beats. Little legs I got too deep. Tell me your feature deceased, but then please, baby, me by my grand, when you can't go follow
God bless you, working on the
Back
plan
to
to
wrestling.
heaven.
Welcome back to the CrosUp. Look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on May 12th to Collision on May 17th. Start with Raw. We open with a recap of last week's main event, with CM Punk saving Jey Uso and Sami Zayn from Braun Breaker and a Seth Rollins attack. Punk comes out to cut an opening promo. He says it's great to be alive, Louisville, Kentucky, and he sees this place as his second home, as it's where he kind of started his WWF career, or WWE career, sorry, in OVW. So he said he's ticked off at a lot of people to the point where it's easier to remember the ones that he's not mad at right now. The worst of them all, though, is himself, because he trusted Paul Heyman and he shouldn't have done that. People, including Jey Uso, warned him about Heyman, and Punk thought it was okay because they were best friends. He said, we all know how this ends because we've all seen it before. He's going to get his hands around Heyman's neck and then get the Temu CM Punk Seth Rollins after that. So pretty nice dig there, old Seth Rollins. Heyman comes out. He comes like halfway to the ring with Punk wanting an explanation as Heyman's last words before he beats his ass, obviously. Rollins and Braun Breaker then come out. Rollins saying Punk is the one who betrayed Heyman. The reality is that Heyman believed in Punk, but now Punk is the reason Rollins isn't world heavyweight champion. Punk swears Rollins will never be champion as long as he's on 2 feet. So Rollins says Punk is always wants to be the martyr. That he said that can be arranged. So Braun Breaker comes into the ring. Rollins gets in as well, but here is Sami Zayn and Jey Uso to make the save. So they save him before anything could get too bad. We then have our first match where Penta defeats Chad Gable via pinfall following a Mexican destroyer. Dom Mysterio then accuses Finn Balor backstage of almost costing him the IC title last week, but he says everything's okay in the long run. We then look back at Gunther versus Pat McAfee from Backlash, with Gunther eventually overwhelming him, though he did show respect after the match. McAfee then gets an ovation from the Raw crowd, and Michael Cole thanks him for defending him. Pat says he's banged up, but he knows he was in a huge fight, so it all makes it worth it. We then get announced that Sami Zayn and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker is going to happen at Saturday night's main event. Zayn and Punk are ready for the match, though Punk is worried about trusting anyone again. Zayn understands that, but says it was the same when Punk teamed with them in War Games last year, and that seemed to have gone well. Punk agrees and says they'll do this together. We then get the Creed brothers defeating the War Raiders when the New Day interfere, allowing the Creeds to hit the Doomsday Brutus Ball on Ivar for the win. We then get Seth Rollins. He talks to Braun Breaker and says that Sami Zayn and CM Punk probably think they got one up on them out there tonight. They have no idea what Rollins is capable of. He wants Breaker to do one more thing, which he kind of just whispers in his ear, and then says, have some fun with it too, before walking away. We then look at Logan Paul attacking Jey Uso after Raw went off air last week. Paul says he wants the world title. They're facing each other at Saturday night's main event as well for the title. Jey Uso then comes out, gets his full entrance, obviously, and then the fans want to do another round of it, so he goes back and does some more yeeting and stuff like that. Uso knows he has a big target on his back, so he's going to get something off of his big chest. He's been hearing Logan Paul talking about how Uso has a glass jaw. Well, it's Saturday night's main event, and then he gets cut off because here comes Gunther. Gunther says they met at WrestleMania, and Uso reminds him of how he tapped out. With that out of the way, Gunther says he knows Uso is out of his element because he's not a natural champion. That's what Gunther is, and he'll prove so on June 9th when he gets his rematch clause, despite the fact of whether it's Jey Uso or Logan Paul as the champion. Gunther hopes that it's Uso so he can remind Uso of his place. That makes Jey take his glasses off and go into a rant about how this is his place as champion. And he's going to walk into June 9th as champion and walk out the very same way. We then get a backstage segment where Io Sky says she's ready to teach Roxanne Perez and Julia some respect. We get commentary paying some tribute to Sabu, who had passed away. I can't remember if it was earlier that day or the Sunday before, but he had passed away just before that. So they pay some tribute to him there. We then get Ludwig Kaiser in the back. He's starting to get interviewed, but we see in the background that Braun Breaker has attacked Jey Uso. So I think that's what obviously Rollins sent him to do. So he's kind of just laid out. We then get another match where AJ Styles beats Finn Balor via pinfall following a phenomenal forearm. We then look at Lyra Valkyria retaining her Intercontinental Championship at Backlash over Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch that comes out. She sits atop the top rope to cut a promo. She talks about how Lyra attacking her character in recent weeks and then gave her the match of her life. Now Valkyria matters more than she ever has before, and it isn't even close. After the bell rang, after the match, though, it was an alarm going off to tell her how much she has been manipulated. She walked away from the crowd for about a year because of the backlash from the people. The people carried her into the main event of WrestleMania because they were in this together. Then something happened, though, because she became a success while all these people are failures. One of her friends asked if she missed doing this, and she missed being in the ring, but she didn't miss listening to the people lie to her. She didn't have to live up to expectations, so from now on, she is whatever the people say she is: greedy, angry, sure, whatever everyone accuses her of being backstage is what she is going to be. So she's basically just saying the people accuse her of being things that she's not. So she's deciding now she's just going to be those things because they're going to accuse her of it, whether she is or not. We then get another Rusev hype promo. He says he's still ready to hurt people and fulfill his purpose. We then get Akira Tozawa kind of responding to that. He says he wants Rusev, but he's too banged up to face him tonight. Sheamus then comes in and requests a match with Grayson Waller next week with Adam Pearce and is granted that. And then we get our main event where Rhea Ripley and Io Sky defeat Roxanne Perez and Julia when Rhea hits the Riptide on Julia. After the match, Rhea and Io pose, but Ripley kind of stares down the women's world title, implying that her and Io are not close to being done with each other. So we'll probably see a match between them two in the coming weeks or months. Probably maybe Money in the Bank. We'll see. But as far as best match, I would go with AJ and Finn. The tag match was also very good, and Penta and Gable would also get some praise from me as well. So a pretty good match show on Raw here for them. So but we'll move to NXT. We get the No Quarter Catch crew out to open the show with new number one contender Miles Bourne. He talks about how he was probably not the big favorite in last week's Battle Royal. And let's get around this already. He admits that he has a disability, that he's partially deaf. It affects his hearing, ability to speak, but that's not what he wants to be known as. He wants to be known as the one who overcomes the odds. And while he can't hear very well at Battleground, he'll hear himself called the new NXT champion. Ethan Page then comes out to cut him off. He is tired of this sentimental bullshit. Bourne won the title shot on a fluke and says he can't. There's no way he can beat Obafemi. Page wants the title shot on the line tonight, and Charlie Dempsey thinks that's a good idea for Miles to prove himself. Ava then comes out and says it's on, but also Charlie Dempsey's match with Obafemi is right now. And then Obafemi comes out and prevents himself from having to be in another triple threat match and defeats Charlie Dempsey via pinfall with the fall from grace. We then get a video from earlier today where Thea Hale and Carmen Petrovich ran into Tatum Paxley. She was absolutely losing her mind, destroying her dollhouse, and she was screaming about losing her friends. Obviously, Gigi Dolan got released the previous week, and Shotzi didn't get her contract renewed. So that she's obviously they're playing a little bit of real life out on TV, I think. But it's a good, a little interesting character turn for Tatum as well. Ricky Saints then comes up to warn Ethan Page and mocks him for trying to ruin everyone's moment. Page isn't impressed and says Saints can go back to playing second fiddle to him. And Saints says, good luck with that to Ethan as he kind of walks away. We then get Wes Lee. He defeats Tony D'Angelo via pinfall when Stax appears on the screen and distracts Tony long enough for Wes to hit the cardiac kick. We then get another hype package telling us that OTM is coming back. Stephanie McClure then comes out to the ring. She saw Jordan Grace become the #1 contender for her title, and now it's time for them to fight at Battleground. We then get Fatal Influence kind of out of nowhere coming out to interrupt her. JC Jane brings up Fallon Henley losing the North American title to Stephanie. Henley then doesn't seem to like this very much, and that's when Jordan Grace interrupts. Grace is here to protect her investment, which is Stephanie, of course, and Vaquera doesn't seem to really like that Grace sees her as an investment, not as an opponent or anything like that. JC Jane then mocks Grace's lack of success, which Vaquera says will continue at Battleground, kind of getting that shot in. And Grace says she is going to make sure that Vaquera makes it to Battleground so she can defeat her at full strength. We then get Miles Bourne. He's in the back. He says he has this and says he doesn't need the rest of the No Quarter Catch crew out there with him because Charlie was banged up from his match with Obafemi earlier, and they kind of he kind of tells them to take him to the medic to get checked out. We then get The Undertaker and Bubba Ray Dudley. They talk to the finalists on the women's side of the LFG tournament, which is Xena and Tyra May Steele. Xena Sterling is her last name. I couldn't think of it there for a second. But Izzy Dame, Nikita Lyons, Lola Vice, and Lash Legend all come in and threaten anyone who comes for their division. So whoever the winner of LFG ends up being is going to have some trouble from the four very very tall and very large women of NXT, minus Lola Vice, who's tiny, but Izzy Dame, Nikita, and Lash Legend are some big girls. So they're going to have some problems with them when they come in. Tony D is then shown going to his car to get to the safe house to try to save Rizzo, which Stax had been shown outside of previously when he distracted him in the match. Miles Bourne is then able to defeat Ethan Page to retain his #1 contendership when he reverses the twisted grin and catches Page in a jackknife cover. We then get Sean Legacy from Evolve. He is upset at losing last week in the Battle Royal and wants Javon Evans, who had eliminated him. Javon Evans seems interested, but Ashante the Adonis comes up to mock the idea. Ricky Saints likes the idea too and says maybe the winner can get a title shot for his North American Championship at Battleground. We then get Tony D. He arrives at the safe house, but Stax jumps him from behind, who mocks everything he's doing, and he issues a challenge for a match at Battleground between the two of them. We then get Thea Hale defeating Tatum Paxley via disqualification when Tatum won't stop trying to gouge Thea's eyes out for some reason. Post-match, Paxley goes for the eyes again and has to be helped back, and I think Carmen comes out and helps Thea out. We then get Kalani Jordan. She comes in to yell at Sol Ruka and Zarya for taking her out last week. Jordan wants one more shot at Zarya, and when she wins, she can get a shot at Sol's title. Ruka kind of accepts on Zarya's part, and Zarya doesn't seem very happy that she did that, despite the fact that I'm fairly confident she's confident that she can beat her again. We then get the Joe Hendry Trick Williams contract signing for their TNA title match at Battleground. Ava talks about the prestige of the title, and Williams promises to take it. Hendry knows Williams. He says he knows Trick knows what it means to break out, and now Williams is just complaining about everything. Hendry talks about how he's making TNA bigger than it ever has been before, but Trick says everyone has his 15 minutes of fame. Will accept, or he says, well, except for Hollywood Trick. That is, he's calling himself Hollywood Trick now. So that's a new thing. And then after he calls himself Hollywood Trick, he signs, and Hendry talks about how this is Trick's last chance because he has no path back to the NXT title. And after Battleground, the TNA title is gone too, for him to have an opportunity at that. And then Hendry signs, and they kind of just have a stare off or a stare down kind of in the contract signing segment. We then have Hank and Tank. They come in to see Josh Briggs, who seems like he's a little sad that Inamura has gone back to Pro Wrestling Noah. Briggs is sad to lose his friend and his partner, but Sean Spears comes in to mock him for his losses. Briggs doesn't want to hear it, and implies that he wants a match with Spears at a later time. We then get the new Chase U. They get their first match set for next week, and it's against OTM. And Andre Chase kind of gets mad at him and calls him out for not going through him first. And he says, "Guys, what the fuck?" Obviously gets bleeped out, but pretty good comedy there from Mr. Chase. And then we get our main event where Jordan Grace and Stephanie Vaquer defeat Fatal Influence when Grace hits the Juggernaut Driver on Fallon Henley. Grace holds Vaquer's arm up after the match as they kind of as they were the victors, and Vaquer and Grace look at each other some more to end the show. And then during that whole post-match scenario, Ethan Page had been shown attacking Ricky Saints to leave him laying. So pretty solid tag team match to end the show, and that would be my match of the night for NXT. A lot of segments. I felt like, setting up the Battleground stuff. There were some good matches in there, but like I said, that main event tag would take the cake for me. We'll then move on to Dynamite. We get our opening match where Will Ospreay and Hangman Page defeat the Don Callis family, represented by Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita, when they both hit the Hidden Blade and Buckshot Lariat simultaneously on Josh Alexander. So they basically hit both at the exact same time, and it's pretty brutal. And then after the match, Takeshita jumps them both, and the fight is on again with Ospreay fighting back. Ospreay accidentally hits Hangman and immediately tries to calm things down, which doesn't work. And they both kind of leave frustrated and pissed off at each other. We then get video for our title match later between Moxley and Samoa Joe. We then get Top Flight and Layla Gray. They are sick of MJF and are ready to face the Hurt Syndicate tonight. The Sons of Texas, which are Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. They come in, and Dustin Rhodes talks about how good Top Flight is, and they deserve this opportunity. We then get Ricochet defeating Zach Gowen after their confrontation last week when he hits the Spirit Gun and gets the pin. After the match, he goes for another Spirit Gun, but Mark Briscoe comes out to cut him off. We then get MJF. He's getting interviewed in the back. He wants to be back on top of the company, and everyone knows he likes to work hard. That involves joining the Hurt Syndicate, and he'll make it happen. He's asked about what happens if the team says no, and it seems to kind of make him think a little bit, and then the Hurt Syndicate walk by and invite him to join them in the ring. The Hurt Syndicate then defeat Top Flight when Dante gets hit by a spear and kind of gets ragdolled in the Hurt Lock. After the match, the Sons of Texas come out to say cut it out, attacking their friends. They then challenge the Hurt Syndicate to a match at a later time, but Crew comes out and interrupt. They say they want a title match as well, but Rhodes says not so fast. MVP then kind of cuts both of them off and says, why don't y'all have a number one contenders match instead on Collision? And then when we go to commercial break, come back, and the Hurt Syndicate is still in the ring, and MVP calls out MJF. There's no MJF, so Shelton Benjamin goes to the back to find him. MJF had been hiding in the gorilla position. He seems pretty terrified, but comes to the ring anyways, and it's time for the official vote. MVP and Benjamin give him the thumbs up like they have in the past, and that leaves, obviously, Lashley, who's constantly giving him the thumbs down. He says, or he goes and kind of puts his arm around MJF, and he kind of teases a thumbs down, goes back and forth, and then he finally puts it up with MJF finally joining the team. And next week, they will have a contract signing to make him an official member. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I have a bad feeling that's not going to end very well for MJF, but we'll see. We then get Mina Shirakawa defeating Toni Storm, Azumi, and Sky Blue when Mina catches Toni Storm in a small package for a surprise win. This actually gets her a title shot at Double or Nothing. and her and Tony kind of go back and forth, and then the Mercedes Moné comes out and attacks Azumi from behind, and puts her in the statement maker, only for Jamie Hayter to make the save. Azumi had beaten uh, Mercedes Moné for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, so Mercedes is down a belt that what she had previously had. She had the 4 titles, and I think she's now just down to 3. We then get commentary on this show paying tribute to Sabu. Taz, obviously a really good friend of Sabu back in the day and a colleague and all that stuff, talks real glowingly about him. And they all do the point to the sky as they kind of go to commercial break. We then come back, and MJF can't believe he's part of the team, and MVP is pleased, but MJF calls in his lawyer, Mark Sterling, to check out the contract, and this doesn't seem to please MJF very much. So MJF getting in and seemingly shooting himself in the foot right off the bat. We then get Nigel McGuinness in the ring to address the FTR situation. He apologizes to Tony Schiavone, and then he asks Daniel Garcia to come out for an apology as well. McGuinness immediately apologizes to Garcia for costing him a chance to win a match and promises him it won't happen again. Garcia says McGuinness did exactly what he should have done, and he wants McGuinness to join him for a fight. Stokely Hathaway then comes out to interrupt and ask what is McGuinness's problem with FTR. McGuinness didn't like someone getting physical with him, but Hathaway doesn't accept that. He issues the challenge to a match with FTR, but McGuinness keeps it simple. He and Garcia barely know each other, and FTR are a great team, so it wouldn't even be close. Garcia doesn't seem to care and says he's overcome the odds for his entire career and wants McGuinness to take the match. Hathaway then taunts McGuinness and says he can't beat FTR because he barely beat Hepatitis, which was a brutal dig. Obviously, this pisses off Nigel, and it gets him way more serious. But before he can say anything else, FTR comes from underneath the ring and jumps them. And Matt Menard eventually comes out with a crowbar to kind of run him off. But FTR gets a couple of shots in before leaving the ring. And then we get our main event where Jon Moxley defeats Samoa Joe via pinfall in the cage match, following a briefcase shot to the head that had been slid in by Gabe Kidd. And he was the one who kind of had to slide it in since Death Riders had kind of been kept away by all of Samoa Joe's friends. The cage is then raised, and everyone else gets into a big brawl on the floor. The Young Bucks then come out to offer a handshake to Moxley, and then Omega comes out to go after them and the Death Riders. Okada then takes out Omega and throws him inside the cage as it's lowered again. Mike Bailey comes out and then brawls to the back with Okada, but everyone else is kind of in the cage, beating down the good guys. Swerve Strickland then comes out, climbs the cage, and dives onto all of the heels. The cage is then raised so the Death Riders and company can leave. Strickland then issues a challenge for anarchy in the arena at Double or Nothing. They don't really say who the members of each team are because there's like 7 or 8 heels and then there's like 5 good guys. So I'm pretty sure it was Hobbs, Willow, Shibata, like I said, Omega. But there was Gabe Kidd, all of the Death Riders, both Bucks, Okada. Mike Bailey was in there for a little bit. I think Bailey and Okada are probably going to have a Continental title match, but there's still more heels than there are faces, so I don't exactly know what the teams are. So, and like I said, Shafir and Willow are in there as well, so I think they'll be in the match. But we'll see who the official members of the match are before we get to Double or Nothing next weekend, as we probably will talk about it on Dynamite on the upcoming week. So we'll see when that happens. But the best match of the show was the opener with Ospreay and Page versus Alexander and Takeshita. Anytime Ospreay can get in and do a TV match, it's usually a really good match with guys like Hangman, Takeshita, and Alexander in there as well. It was really, really great. But we'll move on from there to Impact. We open with Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford defeating Nikita Lyons from NXT and Masha Slamovich when Masha intercepts a chair intended for Crawford and uses it on her. After the match, Slamovich takes out Blanchard as well, but Santino comes out to restart the match. But Robert Stone comes out as well and says, no, the winners are who the referee named the winners, which is Blanchard and Crawford. We then get Cody Deaner getting interviewed. He's nervous about getting to wrestle in such a big match so close to his hometown. His family means the world to him, and they will get to be there for his match. His lack of singles wins over the last year is brought up, but he does a lot of things backstage and helps a lot of the wrestlers, the younger wrestlers out, kind of getting their career started and stuff like that. And he says a loss just simply can't happen next week. We then get the great hands of Jason Hotch and John Schuyler defeating the Rascals when Mustafa Ali gets involved, allowing the hands to hit the favor for the win. Post-match, Ali runs in with a hammer on Miguel, but he runs in to hammer Miguel. But Ace Austin comes out and kind of runs off the Ali and crew. And then during the break, the Great Hands had jumped Ace, and he is actually scheduled for the next match. So he comes out kind of limping. And Matt Cardona defeats Ace Austin, Elijah, and Mance Warner when he hits radio silence on Ace. And this makes Matt Cardona the number one contender for Steve Maclin's international title. We then get Tessa Blanchard. She yells at Ariana Grace, who kind of argues back, but Tessa quickly rebuttals with an absolutely disgusting slap. She smacks the shit out of her and leaves Ariana kind of pissed and down on the ground. We then have a First Class Penthouse Talk segment where First Class is bragging about their celebrity connections and mocks the city of Los Angeles. They bring out their guest O'Shea Jackson, who didn't like that they were insulting his hometown. Jackson says AJ Francis looks like Uncle Phil, so Francis threatens to treat him like Jazz and throw him out of here. Mike Santana then comes out to chase off First Class as they don't want anything to do with him. We then get Indy Hartwell in her first match in Impact when she defeats Kelsey Heather via pinfall with a spinning full Nelson faceplant. After the break, Hartwell is cutting a promo talking about her first win, but Mustafa Ali's cabinet comes in and takes over camera time, talking about how unfair things have been for Ali. Hartwell then isn't happy, but the cabinet doesn't seem to care. Obviously, I think this will lead to a match between Tasha Steelz and Indy eventually. We go to our next match where Rosemary defeats Xia Brookside via DQ when Xia snaps and ends up kind of shoving the ref as the ref had kind of tried to stop her from doing something. After the match, the brawl stays on, and Lei Ying Lee runs in to break it up with Rosemary bailing pretty quickly. But she's starting to get that dark side out of Xia, or not Xia Lee, but Xia Brookside. But yeah, that dark side that Rosemary's been accusing Xia of having is kind of starting to come out, it seems. We then look at Trick Williams and Joe Hendry having their contract signing from NXT. Ariana Grace then goes to Santino Marella to make a match for Under Siege between her and Tessa Blanchard. Robert Stone comes in and says, that's a great idea. So kind of playing Santino, because Santino was kind of hesitant to make it because she was supposed to just kind of be an in-between between NXT and TNA, but now she's seemingly going to wrestle. But then we go to our next segment where Frankie Kazarian comes out to cut a promo. He hates this town and complains about everything going badly for him at Rebellion. He says he hates Joe Hendry and his fans, but there is one person who gets what he means. That would be his tag team partner in Under Siege, Trick Williams. Williams comes out, says they don't like each other, but they are here. They're both here to be respected. Trick mentions Hendry, so Hendry comes out, and then Elijah comes out as well to help Hendry clear the ring. And then Santino says, let's do this match tonight. But Robert Stone runs out and says, we're not going to do that. We're going to wait till Under Siege. So at Under Siege, it's going to be Trick and Kazarian versus Elijah and Joe Hendry. So a big tag match there. Impact, as a tribute to Sabu, shows a match between him and Rob Van Dam from Hardcore Justice 2010. They show some highlights of that. as their kind of tribute to Sabu for the week. And then we get our main event where Jeff Hardy defeats Nick Nemeth via pinfall with the Twist of Fate and Swanton Bomb. And after the match, Ryan comes in and jumps the Hardys, but Leon Slater, who is going to be Matt's partner at Under Siege, makes the save to end the show. That match was the best match of the show. The 4-way was good as well, but I would just for the feud and like the personal parts of it, I would give the nod to Hardy and Nemeth. We will go from there to SmackDown. We open with Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Jeff Cobb for the coming out to the ring to cut a promo. Sikoa introduces Cobb as JC. He doesn't quite give him his last name quite yet, that he'll get later, but he just simply calls him JC. Talks about how it's time to bring everything back to the family. That starts tonight with him winning his Money in the Bank qualifying match. Fatu grabs the mic, says, "Don't get it twisted. He brought the U.S. title back to the family, and he's ready to deal with anyone coming after his title by himself." Sikoa says he and JC get what he means, and this is all to help Fatu. The title is on his shoulder, is proof of the love Sikoa has for Fatu. Fatu begrudgingly says he loves Sikoa too, and Sikoa seems to want a bit more than that. LA Knight then comes in to run in from behind, and he jumps JC before kind of running off. We then get Michin and B-Fab in the back. They want to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and then the titles. But Chelsea Green and her Secret Hervis come in, and Green says she'll be winning the briefcase. Alexa Bliss then pops in just to kind of stare at each one of them. Green then threatens to put tariffs on mediocrity as B-Fab and Michin are first in that department. We then get our first Money in the Bank qualifier where Alexa Bliss qualifies, defeating Michin and Chelsea Green after hitting Green with the Sister Abigail DDT. We then look back at Fraxium beating the Street Profits last week and then getting beaten up by DIY as well as the Motor City Machine Guns got beat up by DIY as well. They kind of took out all four of them. We then get the match between Fraxium and DIY where Fraxium wins and becomes the number one contenders when Frazier is able to catch Johnny Gargano in a roll-up for the win. After the match, DIY jumps Fraxium, but the Motor City Machine Guns get some revenge from last week and run in and make the save. We then get Andrade. He gives Rey Fenix a pep talk before his Money in the Bank qualifying match. Solo Sikoa and company come in to they seem like they're looking for LA Knight to kind of get some revenge on him from earlier. The Street Profits then applaud Fraxium on their win, and the title match they will have is next week, and Fraxium agrees to that idea. Wade Barrett then has a sit-down interview with R-Truth. R-Truth says you can always depend on John Cena, who he calls a beacon of light. Barrett thinks this is crazy as Cena attacked R-Truth at the Backlash press conference. R-Truth says that wasn't the Cena he knew, but if he has to beat Cena back to his senses, so be it. And they will have a match at Saturday night's main event. I don't know if they've said it for the title or not, but I don't think it really matters. I don't think R-Truth's going to be beating John Cena, but they will be fighting at Saturday night's main event. We then get Damian Priest. He says he's sick of Drew McIntyre and wants him in a cage. Carmelo Hayes with The Miz then cuts a promo talking about being ready to take out Aleister Black after he kind of ran away with one last week. Aleister Black then defeats Carmelo Hayes via DQ when he's about to hit him with the Black Mass, but The Miz comes in to make the save for Melo. And then after the match, Miz and Melo continue to lay out Black and leave him laying to end the segment. We then get Alexa Bliss. She says she wants the Money in the Bank briefcase, but stops to talk to Charlotte, who is outside Nick Aldis's office. Charlotte says they were never friends, but then Julia walks out of Nick Aldis's office, and she says, Aldis says that she is the new signing of SmackDown, so she's going to be on SmackDown going forward. We then look at Tiffany Stratton cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase to defeat Nia Jax for her women's title that she currently holds, and then now Jax is back and wants her title back. We then get Drew McIntyre. He comes out to talk. The only thing in that video from Damian Priest earlier that was true was all the violence that they have inflicted on each other. McIntyre has beaten Priest a few times, and now Priest can't let it go. The reality is that Priest has cost McIntyre over and over, and this has to end. So he'll see Priest in a cage next Saturday at Saturday Night's Main Event. As McIntyre goes to leave, he runs into Solo Sikoa and his crew as Sikoa is on the way to the ring for his qualifying match. And that comes up next when Solo Sikoa actually successfully qualifies for the Money in the Bank ladder match when he defeats Rey Fenix and Jimmy Uso when he hits the Samoan Spike on Phoenix after his boys had kind of provided a distraction. After the match, LA Knight runs in for a brawl, but Nick Aldis says LA Knight versus JC will happen right now. We learned throughout the match that JC's last name is Mateo, so he is JC Mateo. He defeats LA Knight via pinfall following the Tour of the Islands after another Bloodline distraction. After the match, Mateo and the rest of the Bloodline pose to kind of end the segment. We then look back at Berto standing up to Santos Escobar last week. Santos then talks to Angel and is willing to forgive Berto, but Angel needs to go find him and convince him to come back into the fold. We then get Shinsuke Nakamura. He says he is not scared of Aleister Black and that he is sharpening his katana into an unstoppable blade. We then get Tiffany Stratton. Before her match, she runs into Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill wants Tiffany's title. Stratton isn't worried about Cargill getting the briefcase. Naomi then can kind of be seen in the background, kind of watching them have this conversation. And then we got our main event where Tiffany Stratton defeats Nia Jax via pinfall when she drop kicks a chair into Nia's face and bloodies her actually. And then she follows that with the prettiest moonsault ever. That actually ended up being a really, really good match in the grand scheme of things, shockingly for Nia. But she seems to have pretty good chemistry with Tiffy, I would say. So, yeah, I think it was a really solid match. Like I said, it involved a little blood, which is something you don't see all too often in WWE. And when you see it, it's usually pretty earned and pretty good. But I think she got it hard way on this one. But that would be my best match. Fraxium and DIY was a really solid match as well. But yeah, a couple of really good matches on SmackDown for those two. But we'll end our week on Collision, or a very abbreviated Collision that we'll kind of talk about. But we open with Megan Bayne defeating Anna Jay via pinfall following the Fate's Descent. We then get Nigel McGuinness at commentary. He agrees to team with Danny Garcia to face FTR at Double or Nothing. We then get Kyle Fletcher defeating AR Fox via pinfall following a brainbuster. We then get a video of Will Ospreay versus Hangman Page and kind of hyping up their Owen Hart final match that they'll have at Double or Nothing. We then get Brody King, Bandito, and Tomohiro Ishii defeating the Don Callis family, this time represented by Lance Archer, Trent Beretta, and Romero when Brody hit the cannonball in the corner on Romero. After the match, the family continued to beat them down until the Outrunners come out and make the save. We then get the Paragon. They are interrupted again by the Grizzled Young Veterans who accuse them of going soft once again. And then a match is made for next week with Adam Cole saying the pressure is now on the veterans. We then get Mike Bailey. He defeats Blake Christian via pinfall following the tornado kick. After the match, he challenges Okada for a Continental title shot. Okada then comes out, calls him a bitch, but Drew Listico and Roosh actually come out and attack Bailey from behind and leave him laying in the ring. We then get video of the rivalry between Big Bill, Brian Keith, and versus the Gates of Agony. We also look at Moxley retaining his title against Samoa Joe in a cage match on Dynamite and kind of the setup for the Anarchy in the arena match at Double or Nothing. We then get Big Bill and Brian Keith defeating the Gates of Agony in a street fight when Bill hits the choke slam on Khan for the win. We then get Mina Shirakawa. She says she's ready to face Toni Storm again. Storm may be timeless, but Shirakawa is now. We then get a tribute to Steve McMichael as they're in Chicago, and he has recently passed after he lost his battle with ALS. His wife comes out to talk about how great it is to be here. Dean Malenko comes out, who was in the Four Horsemen with him for a little bit. He doesn't really say anything, but he's just there to kind of be present for the ceremony that they're having. Tony Schiavone then talks about McMichael's wrestling career and how his foundation is continuing to help fight ALS and other people going forward, and how it's raising money to kind of continue to fight that disease. Ric Flair then comes out, puts over McMichael, and includes how tough he was in his fight against this disease before he ultimately fell to it, obviously, but kind of hypes up his friend and talks about how much of a fighter he was. This is where the TV broadcast randomly ended. They apparently had technical difficulties. I don't know what that means because this is a taped show, so I don't really know if something happened with the transmission when they recorded it, or I don't really know. But from here on, I didn't get to watch this obviously because it wasn't on the TV show, but the website that I looked on for to kind of see the results and some rankings from other people had the rest of the matches and what the results were going forward. But after the technical difficulties, the Sons of Texas defeat Crew when Sammy Guevara hit the GTH on Action Andretti, and that makes them the number one contenders for the Hurt Syndicate. So the ROH Tag Champions going up against the AEW Tag Champions. We then apparently get a face-off between Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale again, and they kind of argue back and forth. And then in the main event, Powerhouse Hobbs defeats Wheeler Yuta via pinfall following some big corner clotheslines and a spinebuster. After the match, Marina Shafir runs in to go after Hobbs' knee. Willow Nightingale comes out to make the save, and then Yuta and Shafir bail with Statlander. Chris Statlander had kind of shown up on the top of the entranceway to kind of see the battle go on. As far as matches I saw, I don't really know how those other two matches kind of came off, but for what I saw, Big Bill and Brian Keith versus the Gates of Agony was the best match. So, like I said, I didn't see those last two matches, but I looked up the results on a website and found out that that's kind of what happened after the technical difficulties happened. But that'll wrap up the week. But as far as TV match rankings, that Takeshita Alexander versus Ospreay and Paige match would be my number one match of the week. Really good. Like I said, anytime any of those four guys really can get in the ring, it's usually a really good time. Tiffy and Nia, like I said, was kind of shocking, but it was number two for me this week. Fraxium and DIY would be number three. And then AJ Styles and Finn Balor would be number four. And then the women's tag with Rhea, Io, Roxy, and Julia would be number five for me from Raw. So solid week of wrestling. Some really good matches. Obviously continuing to build some pay-per-views. We have Double or Nothing and Battleground next Sunday, and as well as Saturday night's main event next Saturday. So I will cover Saturday night's main event next week on this show, but it will be the following week when I cover Battleground and Double or Nothing, since they are both on Sunday. So kind of a jam-packed episode that week, but next week I will only cover Saturday night's main event because I won't be able to get it in time if I cover all three. So but again, thank you for joining me as always, and we will see you next week.
You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business, I live this, it's automatic. I win this, so you hear those horns, you finished. A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid, I'm harder than nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing with no bait. Kid, your boy hold weight. I got my soul straight. I brush your mouth like Colgate. In any weather, I'm never better. Your boy's so hot, you never catch me in the next man's sweater. If they hate, let them hate. I drop your whole clan. Lay your ass down for the 3-second tan. Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You
lyrics, buddy bass, tint pants with a gold tee. It's a war dance, a victory step. A raw stance is a gift, and you insist it's my rep. John Cena trademark, y'all are so-so. And talk about the bread you make, but don't know the recipe for dough. Aiming guns in all your photos, that's a no-no. When this pop, your lip lock, your big talks are blatant no-so. See what happens when the ice age melt. It seems monetary status is not what matters, but it helps. I'm rocking timepiece by Benny, if any. The same reason y'all could love me is the same reason y'all condemn me. A man's measured by the way that he thinks, not clothing lines, ice links, leather and minks. I spent 20 plus years seeking knowledge of self. So for now, Mark Fredker's living life for wealth.
Your time is up, my time is now.